Hi, in this video, we'll examine the strengths and weaknesses of the five-factor model. The development of the five-factor model can be traced back to the lexical hypothesis of Alport and Odbert. They argue that through analyzing language, we can provide a taxonomy of personality differences. They extracted 18,000 words from the Oxford Dictionary that could be used to describe personality. From this, they eliminated synonyms and evaluative terms like annoying. They then used a statistical approach called factor analysis to examine core themes or clusters of traits. The results of factor analysis look something like this. We can see that certain adjectives cluster together to form general themes or core traits. And so what we're seeing is that individuals who indicate that one of these adjectives describes them, for instance, imaginative, they're also indicating that these other phrases or adjectives describe them, such as creative. It's now believed that 5 core traits can be used to summarize core personality differences. So we have openness to experience, or that creativity component. These people like to try new things. We have conscientiousness, so how organized and ordered are you? We have extroversion versus introversion. We have agreeableness, so how kind of kind-hearted are you? How trusting? And then finally we have neuroticism, which is the opposite of emotional stability. There is some criticism of the five-factor model. First of all, there's no unifying theory as to why these 5 are important. They just happen to have emerged through this data-driven analysis. There's also disagreement regarding the cross-cultural evidence for the big 5 factors. It's been replicated across genders and ethnicities in developed, wealthy nations, but it doesn't seem to transfer well to low-income countries. And the reason for that is not well understood. It could be issues with testing. Further, it's been found that many traits may explain only about 10% of the variation in behavior. This suggests that behavior is more dependent on situation than personality. But situation and personality interact in complex ways. We have to think about the definition of personality as stable patterns of individual differences across situations. We may be measuring behavior incorrectly if our experiments look at isolated single acts. The role of personality may not be apparent when we look at any behavior in isolation, but only emerges when we look at patterns of behavior across time. And so we may find that we need to change how we measure behavior. Personality may reveal itself in unique ways. So this is an example of some people that I know, and you can see our person who's likely scoring high in openness to experience, or maybe low in conscientiousness, since they don't seem to have followed the directions very closely. And so in this, kind of unique pattern of revealing personality, we can look at word choice in social media posts as one example. Neurotics seem to be using words like sick, tired, and annoyed. People low in agreeableness are using curse words more frequently. It's thought that differences in openness to experience may underlie political ideology, so important attitude and belief systems. And conscientiousness, but not agreeableness, predicts job performance. And so despite the common phrase, nice guys finish last, people low in agreeableness are not necessarily more likely to be promoted or selected for leadership roles. They're not any less likely, they're just not more likely. And looking at the dark side of personality, we can turn to the dark triad: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. These three traits, along with sadism to make a dark tetrad, predict a whole host of antisocial, parasitic, and manipulative interpersonal behaviors. Just one example is trolling. If you want to know who are these internet trolls, it's the dark tetrad people, particularly sadism. So research suggests that trolls aren't engaging in this behavior out of anger. Instead, they're getting enjoyment out of being mean to people online. So on that very positive, uplifting note, read about the big 5 factors in your textbook, and also read about social anxiety and optimism versus pessimism.